Okay, let's get started.
Commissioner Kasher? Here. Commissioner Eskovitz?
Here.
Commissioner Wasserman?
Here.
Commissioner Wynn?
Here.
Chair Remke?
Here. All right, good morning, welcome. I would just like to start today by, for those of you who have not heard, the commission has appointed a new chief of enforcement. That is Galena West. I'm surprised if you haven't heard her. Picture's been plastered all over the place. She's very excited about that. Anyhow, we're very lucky to have Galena. She has spent the last 10 years with the agency. She's been second in command for the last several years. Recently, as you know, Galena helped us with the streamlining of cases, which is really going to improve transparency and fairness in the process. She's also leading on the new case management system for enforcement, which I think is really just going to transform the way we process cases here. From the beginning, when they come in electronically, to the information we can share, it's just going to really change the way we do business. And she'll, of course, remain tough but fair on the enforcement matters as she moves forward. So we're really excited to have her. So thank you, Galena. And that now we have a full executive team. Recently, we also brought on Hyla as the general counsel. So I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years with a great team, and I think we're going to be able to accomplish a lot. So, but as always, there are people who are also leaving us, unfortunately. And Hyla, you're going to speak on that briefly.
Sure. Legal Division has a valued member leaving, Virginia Lattery Lopez.
She's Virginia.
Can wave. She is retiring at the end of July after a long and distinguished career. She's been our regulations coordinator in Legal Division for the past 8 years, got us through the conflicts and the gifts projects. And before that, she had a long career at Legislative Counsel's office as a librarian and researcher. She could find any bill and analysis from a way old bill that you want. She's got a wonderful husband, Luis, 4 children and 11 grandchildren. So she is in high demand. Yeah.
Well, we will miss you, Virginia, and thanks for all your service while you're here.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments on any item not on the agenda before we get started?
Yes, Chair, if I may, I just wanted to, if you'll indulge me, fellow commissioners and Chair, I just wanted to briefly mention the tragedy that took place last night in Charleston, South Carolina. There was a church where nine individuals were shot there. It was a historic African-American church, and one of the members, or one of the victims, was a 41-year-old state senator from the state of South Carolina. So I wanted to just make mention of that, and obviously sending our thoughts to the community, the victims, and the families, and Charleston.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Kasher. Are there any other public comments before we get going? Sir?
Yes, my name is John Pinkney, and I'm an attorney with the law firm of Slovak, Barron, MP, Murphy, and Pinkney. And this morning, I'd like to read you a quote from a well-established 1927 U.S. Supreme Court decision. That quote is, "A law which requires those subject to it to guess at its meaning is inherently violative of due process." A great deal of power has been entrusted to each of you on this commission. You sit in judgment of your fellow man. I urge you to use that power to demand that in every case that comes before you, that due process be provided. The first question you ask should be, was a clear rule articulated? And if the answer is sort of, kind of, maybe, barely, then stop. Stop your analysis right there, because due process requires clear notice. Don't hold yourselves to the bare minimum of due process, or allow what might be a close or a questionable call to suffice. We as lawyers, we are the critical component in our society that ensures that due process is provided to all, not just our clients.
Sir, I do have to interrupt, and I'm sorry, because you keep speaking of due process, and I'm having a little bit of a concern because you do have an item on the agenda. You're the attorney representing Mr. Burgess, which is a closed deliberation matter, and we have stated that there was going to be no oral argument. And I understand you have a bigger picture statement you're making, but it clearly leads to some of the arguments you make in the case as well. And so it would be unfair to allow you to present an argument when we've decided there would be no oral argument. If you'd like to make a procedural objection to that, go ahead and state that for the record, but I think we need to stick to the rules.
No, I'm sorry. I want to be clear on this. I'm not arguing the case. I'm making a public comment. And I think there's an important point here. And that is, and I have 3 minutes, correct?
Yeah, how much
Okay.
longer does he have?
So we're the critical component in our society that ensures that due process is afforded to all, not just our clients and those we agree with, but also to those on the other side, and most critically, to those who stand before us that we're about to pass judgment on. Since January of 2012, I'm sorry, let me restate that. Since January of 2002, the California League of Cities has been requesting that this commission codify the Siegel test, and it has not done so. As recent as February of this year, it came up again, and this commission has not codified the rule from the Siegel test. If it's an important rule, codify it, give notice to the world. Until you do that, don't punish people for violating a rule from a 1977 opinion that hasn't been codified by
Okay,
this
sir,
body.
I'm going to ask that you wrap it up because, again, I do believe you're violating the rules and the direct order of the commission. So do you have any closing comments? You'll have 30 seconds. Thank you.
So what I'd urge you to do is if you see a situation where notice hasn't been given of the rule, speak up. Because if we don't as lawyers, then who will? Thank you.
Okay, are there any other public comments? Okay, hearing or seeing none, we will go on to the approval of the May 2015 commission hearing minutes. Do the commissioners have any comments or corrections as to the minutes?
I just had one comment on page 7. In the discussion of the legislative report, I'd appreciate if the record could reflect that my concern with the proposed amendment was limited to the changing of the market, or I'm sorry, of the monetary threshold.
Absolutely. I'll change that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Is there a motion? Oops, did you have?
Second.
Commissioner Kasher,
Yes.
Commissioner Eskovitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Wasserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Nguyen,
Yes.
Chair Remke.
Yes.
This motion passes.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent calendar, items 3 through 10. Before we discuss them, do the commissioners need to pull any item as a result of a conflict? Okay. Are there any questions for Ms. West regarding the?
So this isn't a question, Galena, and congratulations. But I did want to make a comment, and that is, I'm so happy that we continue to partner with FTB and the County of San Bernardino. It's nice to see these cases come, to us with, some at least kind of preliminary investigation done before they come to us. And I just want to encourage staff to, continue working on those partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you. And Galena West, Chief of Enforcement. One of the great relationships we have is with FTB. And in fact, we wish they got more funding so they could do even more audits to help us and assist us as much as possible. And we partner with them in lots of ways. So we're really appreciative of their help and support.
Any other questions for Galena? Are there any public comments on any issue on the consent calendar? Okay, seeing or hearing none, do we have a motion?
I move approval of consent.
I'll second.
Commissioner Kasher,
Yes.
Commissioner Eskovitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Wasserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Nguyen,
Yes.
Chair Emke.
Yes.
This motion passes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Do you want to stay for administrative term?
Okay, so next is item 11, which is amending regulation 18404.2, the administrative termination. And I believe, Hyla, you're presenting this item?
Right. We've got some proposed amendments to the administrative termination regulation before you today. And normally, when a committee's activity is complete, it will file its final committee report, and it's going to file a final Form 10 stating that all its funds have been spent, it doesn't have an intention of raising any more, its transactions have all been reported, and that it's terminating its activity. However, some committees become inactive, or the treasurer leaves, and there's just the shell of the committee left there, but no one ever files a final Form 10 or final committee report. So in this case, there's a procedure where the FPPC can administratively terminate the committee under certain circumstances. And currently, the FPPC can terminate a committee that has not filed a campaign statement in the past 12 months and had an ending cash balance of $3,000. With the new law that came in 2013, requiring committees to pay that annual $50 registration fee to the Secretary of State, it cleaned up a lot of inactive committees because they said, we're not going to pay this fee. We're terminating because we're essentially dormant. But there's still a large number of inactive committees out there. And the Secretary of State is now tracking them closely because they have to pay the $50 fee. So it's sending referrals of committees that haven't paid the fees to the FPPC. And the Secretary of State referred over 2,000 committees that haven't paid their fee to us recently. So the regulation before you today is an attempt to respond to that, and it'll expand the FPPC's ability to administratively terminate committees so that the FPPC doesn't need to pursue non-filing or non-payment of registration fee actions against an inactive committee. And so the city clerks don't have to continue to send them non-filer notices. And several hundred committees may qualify for administrative termination under the revised criteria. And of course, the expanded termination is not going to affect any committee that wants to remain open. If a committee gets some notice that it's being administratively terminated from us, it can just request to stay open and do so by making any past filings that are due and paying its required fees. So that's all I
Okay,
have
are
on
there
that
any
unless you have
questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, any public comment on this item 11, administrative termination? Seeing or hearing none, is there a motion? Oh, go ahead.
And these are for candidate-controlled committees, right? Not for other contributor committees.
Excuse me, it's actually for all recipient committees.
All recipient committees, okay? Because I see candidate, local candidate, I see et cetera. And so the no net debts outstanding, if someone hasn't filed anything, then we're just going to be going on the basis of what the record we have in front of us about debts outstanding in order to terminate. And then if they come back and say, we did have debts and we need to reopen and reoperate, it falls into the category that are listed there. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Of reopening.
I move to approve the revised regulation.
I second.
Commissioner Kasher,
Yes.
Commissioner Eskovitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Wasserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Nguyen,
Yes.
Chair Emke.
Yes,
This motion passes.
thank you. We look forward to those 2,000 cases.
So much fun.
Okay, next is item 12, approval of the lobbying manual. Linda? Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Cassidy. Good morning. Linda Cassidy with before you today is the lobbying manual. It's been updated to reflect two major changes: last year's legislation that affected lobbyists and fundraisers, and then the placement agent reporting that went into effect. So the manual has been out for public review, and I ask for your approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners on the lobbying manual? Commissioner Wynn?
Yeah, Linda, could you just remind us how often this lobbying manual is updated? Is it every couple of years?
Well, we would certainly like to update it every couple of years, and it's been several years since it has been updated. In the lobbying area in particular, we don't see a lot of changes, actually. So, but obviously the lobbying and the fundraising lobbyist issues are vitally important. So we want to make sure those individuals who aren't familiar with advice letters and so forth have the information.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I just wanted to comment again how much I appreciate the examples that are set forth in the lobbying manual, because they do really assist folks who are reading this to say, okay, well, that's what the rule, that's what you just said. How does this play out, in a fact-specific situation? And I just hope and encourage folks that those are good steps, but if you have your own particular facts, you can always call or email.
Right. Our numbers all over the manual and the advice. And I think you've seen in our reports that the number of email advice requests are every year going up, and people are using that resource.
Great, thank you. Are any public comment on the lobbying manual? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the lobbying manual.
Second.
Commissioner Kasher,
Yes.
Commissioner Eskovitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Wasserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wynn,
Yes.
Chair Emke.
Yes,
This motion passes.
thank you, Linda. Okay, item 13 is the closed session administrative adjudication. The commission will meet in closed session to deliberate on the matter of Frank Burgess and to decide that matter on the record in the submitted briefs. So we will go off the record now and go into closed session. Thank you.
Commissioner Eskovitz, can you please hang up the line?
Yes, and dial back in a couple minutes. Is
Yes,
that what you want me
please.
to do? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Dial back in, okay.
How are you?
Welcome to AT&T's teleconference service. Please enter your access code, followed by the pound sign. There are 2 participants on the call, including you. You are joining your conference as the host. For a menu of available commands, press *#.
Commissioner Escovitz, are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, I'm going to report out from the closed session as follows. After careful consideration of the record and the submitted briefs, the Commission finds that Frank J. Burgess's conduct on April 6, 2012 constituted a violation of Government Code Section 87-100 by attempting to use his official position to influence a governmental decision in which he had a financial interest. We impose a $5,000 fine. As required, the Commission will file a written decision setting forth our findings of fact and legal conclusions no later than July 8th, 2015. Okay, moving on, we do have the executive staff reports. Item 14, are there any questions from the commissioners regarding the reports for the staff? I think we covered some of it already. Okay, seeing none, those will be submitted, and I would move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Kasher,
Yes.
Commissioner Escovitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Wasserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Nguyen,
Yes.
Chair Rumke.
Yes,
This motion passes.
thank you.